What's happening, El Peeperinos? So let's talk about this year's Call of Duty game and what it might hold. Why? Because speculation is fun, I guess. Yeah, it is. I'm actually really interested to see what InfinityWard come up with this year. Remember, this is the studio that reinvented Call of Duty back in 2007 with the original Modern Warfare. They're also the studio that made Ghosts, which is widely regarded as the least successful Call of Duty game to date. It did sell 16 million copies, but nevertheless, I think InfinityWard need to re-establish trust with the fanbase with this title. So what do we know about this year's game? Well, here are the facts. It's the first game from InfinityWard with a 3-year development cycle. In theory, this should give them much more time to iterate and polish and come up with new and exciting ideas. InfinityWard are also the only development team who's yet to explore exosuits or different movement mechanics. Now, what do we know about InfinityWard themselves? Well, we know that a few key people have left. Most importantly is Mark Rubin, who's the executive producer who worked on Ghosts. You also have Todd Alderman, who was the lead designer. Now, this is one of the original team members who was on board when the company was founded. He actually went off to join Respawn after the MW2 debacle, but he came back for a couple of months and then he left to go back to Respawn, so not exactly sure what's going on there. The last thing that we know for sure is that Ghost was definitely not received well, possibly the worst Call of Duty game in the franchise. So that doesn't give us a huge amount of information, but it does give us some interesting leads. Now let's move on to some rumors. Now every year people like to talk about a new engine being used. They talked about it with Black Ops 3, they talked about it with Advanced Warfare, and every year it just turns out that they're iterating on the same engine. Sure, Black Ops 3 is using an engine called the Black Ops 3 engine, which is the first game to use that engine, but the Black Ops 3 engine is just an iteration of the InfinityWard engine. Now what's interesting about this claim is Activision did showcase their next-gen engine about 3 years ago, which does line up quite well with the development of this new game. But I'm still quite skeptical because, like I said, Call of Duty has been using an iteration of the same engine since 2003. So while it's not inconceivable that InfinityWard are using a new engine for this game, it does seem slightly unlikely. I mean, game engines aren't easy or cheap to develop. Using one that already exists makes a lot of sense from a business perspective. It makes things like bug testing easier, and it makes reaching tight deadlines much more achievable. So I'm going to say that this is probably about 50% likely that we're getting a brand new engine. Now let's talk about possible titles. I've heard a lot of sources throwing around the Modern Warfare 4 title. Now I don't think this seems very likely. I think a Modern Warfare game at this point makes a lot of sense from a marketing standpoint, but I don't think Modern Warfare 4 is the smartest move. I think a new title within the Modern Warfare branch does make a lot of sense though. A reboot, for lack of a better explanation, might work. Lots of people still believe that the original Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 is the franchise's peak, so I could definitely see a new game based in this universe being received well. What about Ghost 2, you say? Well, I talked about this in a previous video, and I think that putting the Ghost label on it would be marketing suicide. Like I said, I actually thought that Ghost was quite a solid game, but I think that most people would agree that Ghost was generally regarded as one of the weakest titles, and I'm sure that Activision would want to avoid a repeat of last time. The other title that I've heard being thrown around is Bloodlines. This certainly could be cool as the title kind of harkens back to a reboot sort of idea, so perhaps they combine it with Modern Warfare and it could be like Modern Warfare Bloodlines. I don't know. Sounds interesting though. Now let's move on to my favourite part, which is speculation. Now I think it's fair to say that there probably won't be a lot of support for last gen, so I don't think 360 or PS3 is going to get a game this year. I think based on how stripped back Black Ops 3 was on last gen, and also what Activision has been saying about this new title, such as it being innovative and ambitious, I think a 360 and PS3 port doesn't seem all that likely. Never say never though, if there's a dollar to be made you can bet that it will still come out regardless of how terrible it is. If they have dropped support for older consoles though, it does give some weight to the argument of a new engine being used. Now this is a wild stab in the dark, but I'm going to say that there's going to be no jetpacks or exos. I don't think that necessarily means that there won't be some kind of new movement mechanic. Both Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3 are quite different, but another game in the franchise with similar movement abilities might be seen as just more of the same. I also don't know if exosuits and dash mechanics are really needed. I've been playing a bit of MW2 and MW3 recently, and surprisingly they don't feel slow or restrictive. As much as I like wall running and the new movement mechanics in Black Ops 3, I don't think they're all that essential to having a good time in Call of Duty. It is still possible to go back to the older titles and have fun. Now let's talk about the setting, because this is arguably the most talked about aspect of any new Call of Duty game. Lots of people seem to be predicting or possibly hoping a return to World War II. Hell, there's even some rumours that this year's Battlefield game is going to be set in World War I, although I'm not sure how much legitimacy there is to that claim. Now, I'm definitely not going to rule out a return to an older style of warfare, so going back to a different time period could be fresh at this point. Now, I think that Ghost failed ultimately because it played it safe. You could argue that it failed because of the map size and the boring kill streaks, but I think ultimately Ghost didn't take enough risks, or any risks. So it makes a lot of sense that this new game would take a different approach. And while there have been shooters based on the First and Second World War recently, there hasn't really been any big AAA titles to cover it. Having said that, I'm not sure going back in time is fresh enough. One avenue they certainly haven't explored yet is full-on future warfare, but even the thought of that makes me kind of sad. Personally, I'd like to see Call of Duty return to its roots and try tackling present day, but in a more gritty and realistic approach than before. Kind of the direction that the original Modern Warfare was going, before it got all crazy with different hyper-coloured camouflages. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this year's game. I'm actually more excited than I have been in the past 2 years to see what this game turns out like. But let me know what you think. Which direction do you think Call of Duty should go? Do you think it should be more of the same like what we've been getting with Black Ops 3 and Advanced Warfare? Or do you think they need to do something completely different altogether? Anyway, drop your thoughts in the comments section below. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm out of here.